Good morning and hello from my back porch to your home. This is Pastor Jonathan with Robertsdale UMC. Welcome to the 101st Daily Devo. We're spending some time just looking through the teachings of Jesus. Jesus said at the end of Matthew chapter 7 that anyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise person who builds their house on the rock. And when the rains pound and the streams rise and the winds blow and beat against that house, it will stand. We want that to be us in these stormy times. So we're looking at these words of Jesus, exactly the words he was referring to in what's called the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew chapters 5, 6, and 7. And today we are in chapter 5, verses 38 through 48. You have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. But I tell you, do not resist an evil person. That's Matthew 5:39. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also. And if anyone wants to sue you and take your shirt, hand over your coat as well. If anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with them 2 miles. Give to the one who asks you, and do not turn away from the one who wants to borrow from you. You have heard that it was said, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your Father in heaven. He causes his sun to rise on the evil and the good, and sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous. If you love those who love you, what reward will you get? Are not even the tax collectors doing that? And if you greet only your own people, what are you doing more than others? Do not even pagans do that? Be perfect, therefore, just as your heavenly Father is perfect. We have seen in the past several passages that we've looked at that Jesus is elevating the call of what it means to live like the people of God. He's upping the ante. What's amazing about this to me is he's referring to the old law of God. He's referring to the Old Testament, the rules of the society of the people of God that were already supposed to set them apart from the other peoples of the world so that they could be a witness, so that they could reflect the image of the God who made them in a godless world. And yet, even that was impossible for them to do. The old law was impossible for people to fully live into, which is why we needed Jesus to come. And so it's almost like he's saying, anybody can do this. Anybody can live in a world of equal retribution. That's the way of the world. Anybody can love their friends and neighbors and hate their enemies. That's the way of the world. I'm calling you to live as citizens of heaven. So I'm taking this to a supernatural level. But in me, you actually have the power to live this way. It's amazing to me because I want to look at the rules and say, well, Jesus, even the old covenant, we struggle to live into. I mean, in our own strength and power, we can't even keep those rules, right? But Jesus is calling us to something so much greater. He's calling us to something that transcends the worldly level of how we interact with people. He's calling us to live as citizens of heaven. This is what we've been talking about. This is even what we've been preaching about on Sunday mornings for the last 2 weeks. So today I want to look at this passage in particular and Jesus' call to not resist an evil person. That really stuck out to me. In Matthew chapter 5, verse 39, Jesus says, do not resist an evil person. It's interesting because James chapter 4, verse 7 says, resist the devil and he will flee from you. So there's a clear difference in the New Testament. James is thought to be the brother of Jesus, the James that wrote the book of James in the New Testament. And so for him to write, resist the devil, resist the evil one, certainly he knows the words of Jesus in Matthew 5, do not resist an evil person. So there's this difference here that we're supposed to see. In our church, when someone's baptized, we actually take a vow to accept the freedom and power God gives us to resist evil, injustice, and oppression in whatever forms they present themselves. But there is a difference, apparently, between resisting evil and even resisting the evil one, the devil, and resisting people. It's kind of like this heart of peace idea. There it is again. It keeps cropping up. Can we live at peace with people, but resist the evil maybe that is driving them to do certain things without resisting or seeing ourselves as adversaries or in opposition to the person? This is what I see in the life of Jesus. I see in the life of Jesus a call to love all people, a call to see every human as created in the image of God, eternally worthy of love and valuable in the image of the Creator, a child made to be in loving relationship with the Father. But we see in our human hearts that so many times we're not driven by that image. We're driven by the evil natures and desires that are manifesting from within. That's what Jesus calls us to resist. He calls us to resist evil, but he acknowledges that this evil is coming from a deeper, darker spiritual force. And so this is the tension that I invite us to live in today, to look around and to notice, maybe for the first time, maybe you've never thought of the difference between resisting evil in the world and resisting a person who is exhibiting evil or doing evil things. Can we love the person but resist the evil that we see in the world? This is the call of Jesus. And like I said, even to try to obey the old law of loving our neighbors is sometimes hard. But Jesus calls us to love our friends, our neighbors, and our enemies. He calls us to love and bless everyone. He calls us to be a witness that in a world where, of course, we want to resist what we don't want to do, that we would radically and sacrificially sometimes do what we don't want to do, and even do more than is asked of us in order to manifest the grace, the goodness, and the love of Jesus Christ. So I hope this message impacts you on a personal level today. I hope that it invites you or challenges you more deeply to live out your faith in God. If there's a specific way God is calling you to live this out that you would like to share in the comments, I invite you to do that. Otherwise, God bless you today. We will continue tomorrow with Daily Devo. And I am praying for you specifically this week that God would just bless you. And with each day, He would strengthen your faith in Him and that you would walk more closely with Him. This is Pastor Jonathan. Grace and peace.